the bell in a moment, but while we're still waiting for a few people to sign in today, it'll be helpful for you to have a couple of blocks. You'll definitely need a strap or a belt or a scarf or something that can function in that way. Definitely a blanket, maybe a pillow, and today you need some wall space. Even a closed door will work. But we definitely need a little bit of wall space for some heart opening things that we will do. So you could gather things up if you don't already have them, and I will go ahead and ring us in. So welcome everyone. This is class 8 of 10. And this class is dedicated to the 7th limb of yoga, which is meditation. And I think the sweetest definition of meditation that I've heard is from Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche, who says, meditation is awareness, compassion, and wisdom. And I love that. It just makes it so simple, right? Awareness, compassion, and wisdom. I really, really love that concept. And so in yoga, when we talk about meditation, we really talk about a practice of spacious awareness. Up until this point, a lot of the centerings we've done, a lot of the breathing practices we've done really have been dedicated to attention or concentration. When we move to meditation, we open up into spacious awareness. To me, it feels like, and especially if you think about awareness in combination with compassion and wisdom, to me, it's a heart-opening practice, right? It's a practice where now we're opening the front of the body. The last 2 sessions, we've been opening the back of the body to become introspective, to reflect, to concentrate, to recognize what our mind is doing, what our emotions are up to, what our energy is like. When we move into meditation, we really move into sort of opening ourselves up to the world, to our own experience. And if you remember the koshas at the very beginning, we were talking about how as you move through your koshas developmentally, your world gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Early on, you're focused on your body, then you're focused on your body and your emotions, then your body, your emotions, and your mind, your body, your emotions, your mind, your community. When you move out into meditation, your awareness just expands to sort of encompass more and more of the world. And then your decision-making becomes more spacious too, because you're taking more and more variables into account. When you make decisions, when you make choices, when you become the agent of your own destiny. And this is the tie-in with karma and the definition of karma in the yogic tradition, which really is a definition of not that you're getting what you deserve or you get what's coming to you or whatever, but it really is a practice of freedom of choice. It is a practice of making a discerning and deliberate decision to have a moment of reflection, a moment of spacious awareness, a moment of compassion, a moment of wisdom between stimulus and response. So that you're not becoming sort of the conditioned agent of life around you, but you become the free agent of your own decision making. You have an experience, you take a pause. In that pause, you come into awareness, you come into compassion, you come into wisdom, and then you make a choice about how to act, how to respond, how to relate, how to reflect as the next step. That is the true idea of karma being the law of cause and effect. A pause happens, And then there's this spaciousness that happens, this awareness before the next thing ensues. That's freedom of choice. That's your real karma, right? Is in each moment having the awareness to know that you have a freedom of choice. You are not just a person who reacts to events. You can make a different choice. And I think that's a beautiful definition of karma, right? It sort of makes us the agent of our own life, but also the free agent of how we affect other people's lives. And so in terms of how the yogis look at karma, right, we can make decisions that are auspicious, meaning that they have positive consequences for us and the people with whom we interact. Or we can make decisions that are inauspicious, meaning that some negative consequence accrues somewhere. It may be to us, ourselves, or it may be to other people. Either way, it doesn't have to be bad for both of us. But even if it's just bad for one of us, it's an inauspicious choice. And then there's mixed stuff, right? Where the consequences are really mixed and the intention was mixed. And we don't really know how this thing will reverberate into the world. But the more spacious we become, the more aware we become, the more compassionate and wise, the more capable we are of making choices that ultimately will have auspicious reverberations through the world. So that's all I'll say about karma. And the way we will come back to this throughout our practice today is for you to really tune in to staying open-hearted, physically, emotionally, mentally, staying with awareness, and then making some deliberate and discerning choices throughout your practice. So that's your challenge for today. Our opening centering will be most auspicious if you can find a blanket. And if you have a yoga blanket, you would bring it to this, what we call the mountain pose of the blanket, which is sort of, I think it's like a quarter fold. And then you can put it on the floor with the long edge facing you, and you make a little roll out of your blanket. And sort of try to keep it nice and smooth. And then you take that roll and you take the bulky edge and you turn it toward your feet. And you take the smooth edge, the one without a seam, and you move it toward your head. And I rolled mine a little bit too tight. I'm going to give this a slightly looser roll here. Now, if this is, oops, I had you backwards. It's the bulky end that goes up, and it's the smooth end that goes down toward your feet. So my apologies. If this doesn't feel comfortable once you take this position, you can take any position on your back that you want. But if this works for you, it's a nice heart-opening way of lying down. So you'll sit in front of the blanket, and your choice, either the sits bones are just on the blanket, or you're fully on the blanket, or you're just ahead of it. You're gonna have to see what feels best for your own body. And then your leg position is up to you. But what you will do is you will take your spine and you will roll it down along the length of the blanket so that the spine is supported by the blanket, but the shoulder blades and the sides of your body sort of drape over the blanket so that your heart is open. If this feels auspicious for you, then that's a nice way to do the opening breathing today. And then you might have some blanket left over at the top, and if you do, you can give that a little fold to bring your head up, or if you have a little pillow, you can give yourself a little lift of the head to make sure that your throat is slightly tucked and that the forehead is higher than the chin. And then think about what, or really experience what works for you for a leg position. My favorite here is to walk my feet mat width apart and to lean my knees against each other. That feels really nice for my low back. But you could also bring your soles of your feet together and come into a butterfly shape in your legs, or you can just stretch the legs out straight. or anything else that feels appropriate for your body. And so I'll give you a moment to get settled in. And then, as always, you know that you can always make a discerning choice to move or wiggle or change positions during the centering if there is a discomfort that gets in the way of you being present with the breathing practice. Once you have found your position on your back, make a choice about whether you want to cast the eyelids downward or if you want to close the eyes fully. And then invite your body to settle into the ground, remembering that you have choices, you have the ability, the wisdom, the compassion to make little wiggles, movements, and adjustments in your physical body as we move along. Once you feel fairly settled on a physical level, I invite you to take a moment to move your awareness through your body. And so this isn't attention to any single point in your body. Instead, you are scanning your entire physical being from the inside out, from head to toe, from toe to head, whatever feels accessible to you. You're sweeping your awareness through your body. And you're sweeping your awareness through your body so that you can make compassionate and wise choices about how best to root and ground your body in this moment and in this space. And no one can give you instructions on how best to do this. Only you can exercise the discernment of knowing what is auspicious for your physical being in this moment. And once you feel as though your body has settled in a grounded and auspicious way, invite your awareness now to broaden so that in addition to holding your body in compassionate and wise awareness, it also includes your breath. And this might mean that you become fully aware of how body and breath interact, coordinate, dance, however you want to see that conversation between your physical and your energetic being. Become fully aware of how breath moves in the body. And become aware of how the body responds to the flow of breath in and out. There's not any particular point in space, not any particular location that you're attending to, but rather your awareness is of that entire dance, that entire collaboration between your physical being and your energetic being. As breath is moving body, and as body is receiving breath. And remaining in this open-hearted, compassionate, spacious awareness, begin to sense your inhalations and your exhalations. Notice how from this perspective, this more open-hearted, this vaster, more spacious perspective, breath moves in and out and through you. What is notable to you in this moment about your inhalations? What is notable about your exhalations? Are you aware of pauses at the top or the bottom of the breath? Can you create a sense of awareness of how your inhalations, your exhalations, the pauses in the breath interact with your body? Can you become aware of the effect of the breath on the body? Perhaps there's a sense of expansion in some particular place in your body. Or perhaps there's a sense of pulsation or vibration in your physical being as the breath moves through you. And as you're becoming aware of this dance of breath and body, can you notice whether the mind is involved here as well? As your awareness becomes more spacious, can you notice whether the reverberations of the breath in the body have an effect on the mind? Perhaps as you notice how much breath is moving through you, there's a sense of fullness or emptiness in the body that reverberates in some way in the mind. Perhaps you notice that the rate of your breathing, how quickly or slowly you're breathing in and out, has an energetic influence on how fast your mind is moving. Can you have a sense of awareness of this dance, this interaction of body, breath, mind, emotions? And can you be okay with it if you don't quite have that awareness? Awareness. Being aware of not being aware is awareness. Can you open yourself compassionately and wisely to simply being in this moment, bringing everything with you, your body, your breath, your mind, your emotions, even your relationships with other people. fully aware, fully compassionate with whatever unfolds. Take a few more rounds of breath, dancing with body, with mind, with energy, with community. And then prepare yourself very gently to begin a journey back toward a seat. Maybe imagining the process of getting up before you actually do it. And then ultimately beginning to move, maybe rolling to your right side, gently moving your body off the blanket. And finding a seat. Maintaining that spacious awareness, maintaining that compassion. I invite you to find your auspicious hand positioning. And without losing your open heart, I invite you to bow your head to your heart. And to invite an intention for your time on the mat today. An intention that comes from a place of awareness, a place of compassion, a place of wisdom. If an intention arises that seems auspicious, you might choose to breathe it into your heart with an inhalation and to breathe it into your world with an exhalation. And then release your hands, open your eyes if they were closed, and lift your focus. And go ahead and remove your blanket roll from your mat if you were using it. And we will come to standing. And this is the time for you to find a wall. And to bring your back to said wall. It could be a door, so whatever works for you. And we're actually taking some really familiar movements, but we're taking them at the wall today as a prompt to feel your shoulder blades on your back at the wall. To encourage an open heart, to really get a sense of what it feels like to have your heart open while you're moving. For some of you, that may mean that your feet actually have to walk away a little bit from the wall. Only you can feel that, so I can't tell you how far to step toward the wall or away from the wall. You'll have to test that out and make your own auspicious choice. It will give you some feedback about the openness of your pectoralis muscles and the fascia in the front of your chest. The farther away you have to walk, the more openness you might need to cultivate here, right? And then as we inhale and exhale, we will move our arms up and down. We do this often. Inhaling up and exhaling down. If that's a rhythm that feels auspicious for you, you can always flip it. As long as you're moving with the rhythm of your breath. Honoring your own breath cycle, so not moving at the speed of what you see on the screen in other people, but moving at the speed of your own breath. And as you move your hands up and down here, create some awareness of that movement in your body. Where does this reverberate and how does this reverberate? Do you notice how this feels in your arms? Do you notice how this feels in your chest? You could even work with your eyes closed since you're leaning at the wall. It's pretty safe, to create more of a sense of spaciousness, of awareness as you're moving here up and down. The next time your arms travel up, keep them there. And then clasp your left wrist with your right hand. You might want to widen your stance in your feet, or maybe not. For me, that always feels very natural at this point. And then we'll take a side bend to the right. What we have today that we don't often have when we do this in the middle of the room is that biofeedback of keeping the shoulders open, shoulder blades on the back. And you may notice you're not going to side bend as far as you sometimes do, but your heart stays open. And then flow with the breath, inhaling up, exhaling down, switching sides. Maybe closing your eyes to really become aware of how you're moving your body through space, how your body is dancing with the breath here. And what it's like to do this movement, keeping the heart open. One more round. And then the next time you have side bent to the left, you can stay at center. And you can release your arms down and maybe take a moment to become aware of how the movement is reverberating in your body, your breath, and your mind. This may feel very different from how this movement usually reverberates. So just keep an open heart about it. And then from here, bring your arms into a W shape. So I hope you can see this well enough on the screen. A bit better here. Is that better? No, not really. From what I can see, this is better. Okay, so you're making a W shape with your arms. And then you're sliding your arms up and down. And just notice your range of motion here in your arms. Notice how challenging or unchallenging this is. This gives you feedback about the openness of your chest. And then if you want a little bit more additional challenge, as you slide your arms down into the W, you can also come into a bit of a squat. And as you slide your arms up, you straighten the legs. If your mind wants to wander away, invite it to be curious. Invite it into this awareness, into this spaciousness. And after the next slide down, when you come back up, return to your natural mountain pose at the wall. And just notice if anything feels different for you. Perhaps you can hold an image of what mountain pose at the wall felt like at the beginning, and whether anything has changed for you in the experience of this particular shape, in your body, in your breath, and in your mind. And then you can move forward and a little bit away from the wall, and then turn over, face your chest to the wall, and spread your arms against the wall. And plant your right hand and arm firmly on the wall. The left arm will slide down to your side, and then you will walk your feet out to the left so that your right arm is at the wall behind you, and you're stretching across the right armpit chest. And then perhaps direct your breath into the space in your body that feels most tight here. Directing awareness into that tight spot, compassion, so that then you can work with some wisdom just about how far to turn your torso away from the wall to have an auspicious stretch without over or underdoing. Take a couple more rounds of breath. And if your mind wanders away, invite it to come back. Invite it to come back to this place of awareness. And then with your next out breath, return to the wall. So walk both feet back to the wall. Both arms are back to the wall. You're facing the wall. And then plant the left hand and the left arm at the wall. Let the right arm descend beside you, and then walk your feet out to the right. To take this stretch on the other side. And once again, work with full body awareness here. It's not just about opening the heart, it's about opening the entire body, opening your energy, opening your mind. And when you do encounter a tight spot, breathe into it with compassion and with wisdom. Take one more round of breath. And then with your next exhalation, turn yourself back toward the wall. Give the wall a nice hug. Say thank you for supporting me, and then release your arms down. And then turn your right side toward the wall and bring your arm up against the wall so that your palm is planted on the wall. And maybe the right hip touches, maybe it doesn't. It's not a hugely important issue. But just notice. And then from here, come to your tippy toes. Plant that right hand firmly at the wall and keep it where it is as you release the heels toward the ground. This will give you a mighty side stretch in the right body. You can hear my talking is more labored now. This definitely has an effect on the breath. And so just work with that awareness here of how this side stretch reverberates into the body, into your energy, into your mind. With your next inhalation, come back to the tippy toes, feel the relief in the right shoulder, and then let the right arm travel down. And then switch sides. Move the left side of your body against the wall, plant the left arm and the left palm on the wall. And then very deliberately with an inhalation, come to your tippy toes. Plant that left palm on the wall. Don't let it move. As you descend your heels back toward the ground for a really nice big stretch of the left side body. Maintain spacious awareness of your entire body. Yes, there's an area of extra stretch, but your whole body is responding to this stretch. And so then make a discerning choice about where you want to direct the breath, where you do want to direct your compassion. And breathe into that spot. With your next inhalation, rise back to the tippy toes. And then release your arm down by your side and just shake it out a little bit. Maybe even rolling the shoulders out a little bit. Sort of use your own awareness, your own discernment to make some decisions here about what is most auspicious in terms of relieving any tension that may have crept into the body through these stretches. And then go ahead and grab your strap. And I will step back a little bit, not too far. And spread your legs any amount. In fact, I will kneel so that you can see my arms, but you can stay standing. And then hold the strap at some comfortable distance. And with your inhalation, bring the arms up and overhead. And with the exhalation, bring them down behind you. You may have to slide the hands out on the strap. Use your own discernment here. As you inhale, bring the arms back up. As you exhale, bring them forward in front of you. And repeat this. You might tighten the distance once you're in front as you travel up, and then you may have to slide the hands out as you come back. Working with awareness and compassion of how this movement reverberates through the entire body, and directing breath and compassion to the places that really are opening up here. And maybe on this last one, up and down, reflect on sort of the beauty of being able to literally open your heart here. Well, your chest, I suppose, but also how you can do this figuratively, right? Or you can open yourself up to this experience of challenge and maybe find some joy in it. And release down. From here, you might need your strap again. And so what I like to do is I like to just sling it over my shoulder like this to have it handy. And then with an inhalation, you'll take your right arm forward and up, and then you'll bend at the elbow, and you'll bring your right hand behind you to give yourself a little tap on the back. And then keep your hand there. You could scratch your back a little bit, but keep that arm engaged, right? I like to say I'm giving myself a little pat on the back or a gentle scratch here just to keep my arm interested and aware. And then the left arm travels forward ahead of you. Your thumb now turns down. And now in this internal rotation in the left arm, you're bringing it behind you and you're reaching it up your back. And maybe it reaches the fingertips of the other hand, but maybe not. But this is why you have this strap, because now you can hang on to the strap to connect the hands virtually if they don't connect literally. And just notice if your mind is aspiring to the hands reaching each other, Or if you can be okay, if you can be compassionate with tightness in your chest and in your shoulders, that means the most auspicious choice is to hang on to the strap. And then breathe into this beautiful stretch. Directing the breath compassionately to any places in the body or in the mind that maybe feel a little tight or a little tense. And as we begin to release here, do this very gently. Don't just pop your hands loose from each other or from the strap, but instead let them gently separate. Bring the arms apart and take a couple of nice shoulder rolls before you even think about the other side. Maybe take a moment to become aware of your breath, dancing with your body and collaborating with your mind. As your body finds stillness for a moment. And then your left arm travels forward and up, bends at the elbow, so that you can give yourself another pat on the back or another little scratch, keeping that arm engaged. As your right arm travels forward, the thumb turns down, and then the arm travels behind you to find the other side. And if you're like me, you might have really big differences side to side. I'll show you my back. On this side, I'm not even close to being able to link my hands. And so I have to work with extra compassion on this side, right? It gives me information about how I store tension in my body, where my energy maybe is blocked. Feel the beauty of the stretch and compassionately direct energy to the places that feel tight, tense, blocked, hard. And then at the end of your next exhalation, gently begin to release the hands from each other or from the strap. Release your arms down and circle your shoulders yet again. And remove the strap from your shoulder, but keep it in your hand. I'll take one more opening here. You can stay standing. I will stay on my knees just so that you can see me. And then bring your arms behind you with the strap in your hands like this. And roll the shoulders up and back so that you feel your scapulae, your shoulder blades, really beautifully settling toward each other and down the back. So retracting and depressing. If you have really open chest muscles, you might be able to clasp your hands here. But for most people, it's more auspicious to hold the strap and to have some distance between the hands. Otherwise, the heart will collapse. And that's not the point of our practice today. The point of our practice today is to keep an open heart, to feel spacious, to maintain our compassion. And then from here, come into a half lift. So you're coming to a forward fold with a 90-degree angle. And and your arms are resting on your back. This can be your position. Your main point of awareness is your open heart here. Is spaciousness in your entire being, your body, your breath, your mind. If you have the sense that it's auspicious for you to explore further, you can release farther into the forward fold, as long as your heart stays open. If you want to make a discerning choice about whether you can stay open-hearted by lifting the arms behind you, you might choose to do that. And so work at your own edges here. Work with awareness, compassion, and wisdom. Releasing into this beautiful shape called Yoga Mudra, the Great Seal. And just notice if striving overrides compassion and awareness. And if it does, reopen the heart. And then with your next out breath, return the arms onto your back if they were lifted. And with your next in breath, rise all the way back up with awareness and compassion. And keep your strap handy. And also grab your blocks. And we will come into a lunge position. So we'll start with the right foot to the inside of the right brick. The left knee will stay on the ground, and then your hands will come to the blocks. Keep a nice long stance. And just as we talked about in the last session, in this lunge, really think about drawing the forward femur back and the back femur forward so that both heads of your leg bones are grounded in the hip joint. And then stretch forward any amount, letting that forward knee move past the ankle, past the toes, to get a nice stretch in the front of your left hip. And notice if your heart stayed open. And if your heart collapsed, roll it open. Remember that wall that supported your shoulder blades earlier and pretend it's still there so that you can find it. And then see if you can invite just a touch of a back bend into your back here. And make your own discerning choice about how far you want to move into a back bend. Remembering that you want to honor your entire body. Remembering that you can breathe compassionately into your tight spaces, inviting spaciousness and openness. And maybe as you're resting in this shape, you might notice that a little more openness creeps in and you find a little more range of motion. Or maybe you don't, and that's okay too. What's important is to make those discerning choices, those auspicious choices. With your next inhalation, bring yourself upright yet again. Grab your strap and come back into that same shape with your hands that we took a moment ago, where you bring the strap behind you, you open the heart by holding the strap. So this time your hands aren't resting on a block, this time your strength has to come from your core, and we will do this again. We will shift forward. Only this time we're giving us a beautiful prompt to keep the heart open by having either our hands clasped or connected to each other with the strap, and moving that strap out behind us. And then you make a discerning choice about how far you want to open your heart here and how much of a back bend you want to create in your torso. Lifting that back bend as high up toward the thoracic spine as you can. So not overusing the lumbar here and its willingness to do this. With your next inhalation, rise up, let go of the strap, and switch sides by stepping the right knee back, and then stepping the left foot forward. And we start again with the version of the hands on the blocks. Patiently finding your lunge first, so patiently planting the heads of the thigh bones in their corresponding hip sockets. So forward leg moves back, back leg moves forward. Your heart is open as you release yourself forward. Left knee traveling past the left foot. Right hip opening. Receiving this stretch with an open heart. And then making your own karmic choice of what's auspicious for you here. Maybe directing a compassionate breath to any places in your body or in your mind that are tensing up. And then inhale to return to a neutral lunge, long enough to grab your strap, to reconnect your hands, to open your heart, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Lifting the heart, opening across the top of the chest without letting the low ribs just jut forward. So keeping integration in the core and then descending yet again toward your version of this back bend. This opening of the front body from the right psoas across the entire abdomen, the chest. Maybe noticing the effect on the breath. And inviting compassion into the experience. And with your next inhalation, lift yourself back up. And bring your strap around, and then I'll show this on the screen. Make a little loop. So if you have an actual strap with a buckle, go ahead and buckle it up. And make a little loop. If you have a scarf or a belt, just tie a little loop like this. And then what you'll do is you will thread it onto your ankle like this. And then you'll take the strap and feed it between your big toe and your index toe, like so. So you're making a little strap sandal, like this. All right, and then hold on to the long end of the strap, and I'll walk myself back into place. All right, and then go ahead and bring the opposite foot, the one that doesn't have the sandal, to the inside of the block. Take the long end of the strap and bring it over your shoulder. And you can use your hands to stabilize yourself on the block, but the other hand is on the strap. And then take that strap and pull on it so that you're lifting your foot up here. If you don't need the support of the block under your other hand, you can bring both hands to the strap to have a nice stretch of the quads of the leg that has the sandal. And then check in with your heart, check in with your awareness, and see if you're nice and spacious here. And if you would like to explore, you can see if you can actually bring the hand on the same side to the foot to open, again, the front of the body. And if the hand doesn't come to the foot, no worry, right? Because you have the beauty of the strap instead. And then when you've enjoyed as much of this as you can stand, you can slowly release that leg back down, controlling the movement with the strap as it runs through your hand. And then, of course, you have to disentangle yourself from the strap on that side and switch your little sandal to the other foot. Feeding it between the big toe and the index toe, and then down across the base of the foot. Bring the opposite leg next to the block. Bring the long end of the strap over your shoulder, and then begin to draw your leg closer to your bum. I love this variation of Vikasana, of half frog in a lunge, because you have the beauty of keeping your heart open here by using the strap. And you have the stability of the block if you want it, or you can have both hands on the strap, keeping your heart nice and open. And then you have the ability to make a discerning choice about whether you want to bring the hand to the foot to give an additional opening here. It's so much up to you, right? There's so many beautiful choices here that you can make when you work with awareness and compassion for your own being. You might even bring the second hand to the foot if that's auspicious for you. Feeling the opening in the quads here. And then gently reverse yourself out the same way you came in, feeding the strap back out so that your foot can land on the ground. And then you can release your little sandal away from your foot. Remove the blocks from your mat. And we'll take a little rest in puppy's pose. So coming to your forearms, interlacing or keeping the hands straight, whichever you prefer. Hips are, or bum is above the hips as you release the forehead either to a block or to the ground so that you can rest and breathe here for a moment. And notice how beautifully open your heart is in this position. Even though you're forward folded at the hips, your heart is open and your awareness can remain spacious as you rest for a couple of breaths. Now you can stay in puppy's pose for a few more breaths if you would like, or you can lift a little bit, curl your toes under, and press the hips back to come into a downward dog to continue your resting. And then notice if in this down dog you are maintaining that same open-hearted feeling that you've been cultivating now for the entire practice. Can you feel that open heart you had in your Anjaneyasana, in your lunge, with the strap right here? If you are in down dog, go ahead and come to the knees. If you are in puppy pose, go ahead and press onto the hands if that's accessible to you right now. And come into a half plank. So a plank with the knees on the ground. The body is nice and straight. You're keeping an open heart. You've been practicing this. And then lift the feet. And imagine that you have that strap sandal and that you can pull the legs up and the heels toward the bum. So that you're creating that opening along the entire front body here in plank pose of all places. You're cultivating strength and open-heartedness at the same time. If that's not wisdom, I don't know what is. And then from here, you can release the feet down if you'd like, or you can keep them up as you bend your elbows in toward the side of the body and you lower yourself down onto the mat. And then once you're on the mat, let yourself release for a moment and just be like a puppet that has no more puppet master and it just sort of collapses in place. And give yourself a moment of complete letting go. Maybe take a couple of breaths, reconnect to your awareness. Become aware of the energy that's moving through your body. And wisely cultivate compassion for any part of you that is feeling tension or irritation, maybe annoyance, physically, energetically, mentally. It's all good. And then turn the head forward if it was lowered. And, sorry, I just had to adjust my sweater. And then bring your hands outside the chest, sort of in line with the breasts, really. And be in the slightest bit of cobra position here without any weight in the hands. In fact, you could hover your hands a half inch or so above the ground. And then remember that back bending we did in the lunge with that open heart, and see if you can recreate that here by lifting yourself away from the floor in the shoulders. Maybe the legs are really, really gripping the floor. Maybe the little toes are pressing into the ground. As you come into a handless cobra here, lifting yourself with the power of your core, the power of your commitment to this open-hearted practice. And then you can release down and take a rest. You can also place your hands on the ground now and find a bigger cobra. Or you can release your elbows under the shoulders and come into a sphinx. Or you can press into the hands and come into a more extended version of cobra. I'm basically saying you have choices now of how far you would like to take this back bend. Use discernment, use compassion, use wisdom about how far you would like to move. Maybe you're coming all the way into an upward facing dog. It's your choice. Make that choice with discernment, though, so that your heart stays open. This is how we want to move through life. We want to make tough choices that keep our heart open, that keep us compassionate and wise. And so do it for yourself right now, but then do it for other people. And you can move from option to option here. If you're not sure what's auspicious, try different things. Just try it with awareness, try it with compassion. And then wherever you are, go ahead and release yourself down, nice and slow. deliberately, wisely. Bring your hands in front of you, rest your forehead on your hands, and take a little rest. Take a couple of really spacious breaths. And notice where tension may have crept into your body, your energy, or your mind. And direct the breath there. Compassionately and wisely bring attention to that place inside of you that needs it. And let go. Release. Relax. Knowing that you have cultivated an open heart and spacious awareness. With your next breath in, lift the head enough so that you can move your hands under your shoulders. And then you get to make a choice here. You can take another back bend, or you can press yourself into a child's pose. It is up to you. We won't have a really long hold, and so make a choice that reflects what's auspicious. Maybe you're coming into a cobra, maybe you're coming into an up dog. Maybe you're coming into a sphinx. Child, puppy, dog, you decide. You're the agent. And then wherever you are, release, bring the hips back so that you sit on your heels. Swing your hips to one side and bring the legs out in front of you. Have a block handy. And then roll yourself down onto your back. You can use your hands, or you can use your belly, or you can use a combination. As you bring yourself supine. Walk your shoulder blades underneath you, and maybe just take a moment to feel that sense of grounding here. You started in this position at the wall in a way, right? And you felt your shoulder blades at that point at the wall. Now feel them on the earth and feel that same sense of groundedness so that you have an open heart, you're spacious, and yet you're grounded. And then grab your block. Lift your hips high enough using your core power so that you can slide that brick underneath your sacrum. You could be at the lowest setting or the middle setting, but probably not at the high setting. And when you release your sacrum on the block, that should feel really comfortable. If it doesn't, the block is likely in the wrong spot. So slide it a little higher or a little lower and experiment until you find a spot that feels comfortable. And maybe then re-nestle your shoulder blades on your back. Maybe your palms want to face up. Maybe your palms want to face down. Use your own discerning choices. And then decide if you want to close your eyes for a moment or just cast the eyelids down. And decide about a position for your feet and your knees. For me, I'm coming back to that position where my knees are leaning against each other and my feet are about mat width apart. To bring relief into my low back. As you're letting yourself settle and ground, perhaps enjoying that sense of openness, that sense of spaciousness that you cultivated in your body, in your energy, in your mind, as you let yourself ground into the earth. Take a few more rounds of breath, cultivating yet again awareness of your entire being. Awareness of your body in this moment, in this space. Awareness of how the breath is collaborating with the body. Awareness of how the mind is dancing with breath and body. Resting your body, resting your nervous system, resting your mind. And when you feel ready, you can lift your hips just enough so that you can remove the block. And then roll yourself down one vertebra at a time. And perhaps give your legs a hug as you bring the thighs to the chest. Maybe the hips want to walk back away from the shoulders to create a little length in the spine. And maybe it feels auspicious for you to rock side to side. Explore here. Make your own choices about how you might want to counter the opening from the back bends. Maybe you're making circles or figure eights with your knees. Maybe you're taking a little twist to one side and then the other. Maybe some windshield wipers or happy babies. You know enough about your body at this point that you know how to relieve any tension that may have crept in, or how to settle your nervous system, how to calm your mind. Nobody can tell you to do that. Only you have the wisdom to make your own choices. You can continue to move and wiggle a while longer if you would like, or you can begin to settle yourself into your final Shavasana position. And as you do settle into your final Shavasana, make choices about how you want to do that. It might be nice to grab that rolled up blanket if you still have it and place it under your knees. It might be nice to cover up with a blanket if it's a little chilly in your home. It might feel good to bring a pillow under the head. I'm sure there are lots of other gentle adjustments and decisions that you can make to create a sense of ease, a sense of comfort for your body, your breath, your mind, your emotions. As you settle yourself in. Grounding through the body, rooting into the earth. Receiving the support from the ground beneath you. Surrendering your physical being to the earth. Freeing the breath to flow in its own rhythm. Allowing yourself to be breathed. Surrender the breath to the flow of prana around you. Finding ease in the mind. Knowing that thoughts or plans or memories may emerge, and yet you don't have to connect with them. Neither latching on to them nor trying to chase them away. Just letting be what is in your mind. Surrendering any mental fluctuations to your deeper wisdom. And trust your entire being to your own spacious awareness, your own capacity for compassion, to your inner wisdom. And from your open heart, let this awareness expand. From your open heart, let your awareness move outward, compassionately and wisely. Through every fiber of your physical being. Compassionate awareness traveling outward from your heart, through your torso, into your legs, your arms, your neck, your head. Open-hearted awareness enveloping your physical being with compassion, with wisdom. Releasing any holding, inviting a sense of ease, a sense of spaciousness into your entire body. from your open heart, let awareness radiate outward into your breath, into your energy. Inviting awareness to pulsate through your energetic being with compassion and wisdom. Bringing awareness to all the energetic vibrations and pulsations that move through you, around you, and that reach all the way into your community, into your relationships, and into your world. And then from your open heart, invite awareness to infuse your mind, to envelop any thoughts, feelings, plans, perceptions that may linger there, infusing them with compassion, with wisdom. Transforming them in such a way that you can make choices that are auspicious for your own well-being and the well-being of everyone you come in contact with. I invite you to stay in this space of open-hearted awareness, in this space of wise compassion, as we move into a few minutes of meditative silence. Gently begin to draw your senses outward. Perhaps you notice sounds or movements around you. Perhaps you feel the air on your skin, or the weight of your blanket or your clothing. Perhaps you notice aromas in the air. You might even blink your eyes open for a moment to reorient yourself to your space. As you gently invite some movement or wiggles or stretches into your body. You might choose to breathe a conscious breath in and out. As you begin to ponder a gentle and deliberate journey toward a seat, taking all the time you need in the next 20 seconds or so to make that transition from your back to your side to an upright posture. And once you have found a seat, I invite you to bow your head to your heart. I invite you to tune in one more time with spacious awareness, with deep compassion and wisdom to your own open-heartedness, your own capacity to choose, the freedom of choice that you have as the agent of your own life, to make discerning decisions that bring auspiciousness to you and everyone around you. Thank you so much for sharing this practice. It's an honor and a privilege and a joy. Thank you very much.